We don't know what's happening in all different parts of the regulatory world. So trying to prepare for the unknown is very challenging. But I will say, after being in this business for 35 or more years, that the one thing we can count on is change.
I think the biggest challenge that Rhode Island Healthcare members face is regulatory. I honestly think that's one of our bigger challenges right now. Staffing is certainly a challenge, but regulatory just continues to get harder and harder. Trying to meet the deadlines, trying to meet the guidelines, trying to make sure we're following everything that needs to be followed on a day-to-day basis is probably the biggest challenge. You know, a lot of times the federal regulations drive some of the state regulations, but for the most part, it's a combination of both.
We don't like to think of it as a hospital, but we still have all the same regulations of the infection control and the regulations for medications, the regulations for staffing. So it's very difficult trying to balance all of that and get the most what you can out of everything.
The state put into effect a minimum staffing regulation that was impossible, and had the enforcement fines been put into place, we would have gone out of business.
By the end of this year, 2025, the fines were expected to be $500 million against the nursing homes under the initial legislation that passed.
Consistency in long-term care is where the quality comes in, and being able to stay consistent is how to drive that home. It's a big challenge to stay consistent every day when you have those regulatory challenges. Rhode Island Healthcare Association helps us with that consistency.
So we advocate with the state legislature for reasonable regulations, for enhanced reimbursement, and also we've made some strides with a staffing mandate in the state that was unachievable. And we've gotten, over the last 4 or 5 years, a 33% increase in Medicaid rates for the nursing homes in the state through our advocacy primarily.
I think the Rhode Island Healthcare Association helps the members most by education. We really strive to work with our state regulators on what is out there and what the challenges are, and we base a lot of our education based off of those challenges given to us by the regulators. So when we put out an educational session for our members, it's geared towards making sure we're meeting a standard.
So I am a board member with the association. I'm also their education chair. So we come up with some great ideas, education opportunities that may be out there from any regulations or any, regulatory needs from our surveyors, and we provide the education to our members.
So the Rhode Island Healthcare Association and PharMerica collaborate together to provide education to make sure that everyone is up to date on standards. They work with our teams if it's in regards to medications, to pharmacy regulations, new standards that are coming out with CMS, and we work together to make sure that we're providing the best care to our residents. The pharmacy consultant comes in on a regular basis, and she helps provide education, and she also helps us do auditing, which helps us when we're struggling to meet all of the regulations. And we work together to make sure that we're providing the best care to our residents.
Rhode Island Healthcare Association has a strong relationship with the Department of Health and our regulators and the surveyors, so that we partner with them on what surveyors are seeing out there in terms of compliance, what we should all be focused on, so we learn from that.
I do feel that, with all of the regulatory changes that are out there and reimbursement changes are out there, I do see that, we're going to have to fight for everything that we get in the future for our residents to make sure that they get the best quality of care.
Voices of Care celebrates partnerships that strengthen care for every resident. Together, we're shaping a future where facilities thrive and caregivers feel supported. When excellence matters most, partnership matters most.